Okay, so I read an article. This concerns me. Our matter and atoms come from not our galaxy, the Milky Way, but other galaxies. So in essence, we are the aliens. Now the question is, if we're aliens, why are we fighting? I mean, we don't act like aliens. I mean, how do we go from other galaxies ending up on Earth to wars and killing and religion? It just don't make any sense. You know, our true origin story has nothing to do with the way we behave, and has nothing to do with religions. This concerns me. What happened? What happened? It's like Earth is a prison planet of some sort. Did our brains just get wiped away? You know, was people having other babies and other planets and galaxies? Scientists just found out all that matter and atoms doesn't come from the Milky Way galaxy, it comes from other galaxies. So it brings back to this question, like I said. Either we are the first intelligent life or the last. It's one of these two. Possibly the last. Other civilizations have died. Billions, trillions, other big bangs, so forth. And the interesting is the tardigrade, the indestructible animal that's found on Earth. You can't freeze it, you can't burn it, and it can survive in the vacuum of space. And even when everything dies, it's the only remaining creature that will be alive. And the interesting thing is, its DNA is totally different than our DNA. Technically, that's like an alien. It has different DNA. The scientists are puzzled about its DNA. They're trying to decode it, and they're just baffled. Okay? And the thing is, they say it's not alien. Because I guess it's from Earth. So even if we found different microbial life, because it's kind of microbial life, believe it or not, you only can see it through a microscope. You can find in trees on Earth, just out of the tree sap. They're there. They're like everywhere. It seems like panspermia is kind of true. Microbes, life hitch on rides on asteroids. Or the other saying is that matter and atoms came from different galaxies. Maybe it has nothing to do with the asteroids. And that we can confirm now. The matter and our atoms come from different galaxies, not in the Milky Way. And you can read about this article, how they did this, the computer simulation and science stuff. So, and they actually found gamma ray burst, the biggest explosion, second to the Big Bang's, well, explosion or expansion, some sort. I guess. So if the water bears, those tardigrades' DNA's really bizarre. Just imagine other microbial life in other planets, galaxies, under Enceladus and under icy crust on other planets, which is water and abundance of all the building blocks, like Neil deGrasse Tyson says. You know, it seems like it's from carbon. It's all around the universe. You know, so. Maybe we could transfer to this planet and aliens could show us what happened. Because they're around, they know what the hell happened. You know, maybe they have like a movie camera and they could say, this, you know, this is what happened. But regardless, I'm interested in more about the DNA of these tardigrades, as well as the microbial life on these other planets. And about the intelligent life, if it's rare, like I said, it's either one of these. We are the first or we are the last. It's one of those. And if we are the first, then everything came naturally. Obviously, no intelligences existed. And it's probably harder to explain. If we are the last, it's probably easier to explain because you have the aliens in there. And, that makes things easier because, they could have had something to do with it. It's either one of those. That's what it boils down to, folks. So, I don't know which one it is. It's possible we could be the first intelligent life, and the other lives has not developed yet. Evolution has not taken place. Or maybe they're hiding these aliens, or maybe they just got wiped away, or, the heat of the universe is so hot that they don't want to come out. Or maybe they just haven't evolved. So, yes, it's easier to say we're the last because that brings the aliens already there. Makes it easier to explain, I guess, than say we're the first, which makes it probably harder to explain because everything came with no intelligent life. Only microbial life and the atmosphere and panspermia and abigenesis through naturalistic means, through rocks and asteroids and maybe actually the we are the last is more complicated to explain than the we are the first. Because of the intelligent life, you have to explain that whole background, how that came to be. But if we are the first, maybe it's easier to explain because everything, abigenesis came naturalistic means. So, I don't know. But it's one or the other, obviously. So, it should be very interesting. But, we don't act alien. You know what I mean? If we're from like different galaxies, how aliens act. Like, we don't. Maybe aliens kind of look maybe like humans. Maybe they merge with machines, which we're trying to do, and they're robots. Or maybe they are robots. So I'm interested in more stuff we find out through science. Running to do an experiment, finding out basically why we exist at all. Because from the Big Bang, any matter and matter supposed to be evenly distributed, but it didn't. Antimatter won over matter. And we try to find out. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't exist. So they're running this Dune experiment. So possibly we can. I think maybe we're getting closer, but then it's going to probably end up more questions, and maybe we'll never know. Or we might get closer and maybe have a theory of everything or theory of nothing, and we unlock the whole puzzle. So it should be interesting how far we're going to learn and push it. And so yeah, pretty cool article.